Hey guys, I'm completing my journey through the intermediate chess bots on chess.com, and the last challenger up is Mateo from Argentina. And it says Mateo doesn't like to get attacked, so don't be surprised if he trades queens and tries to squeeze you in the ending. Alright Mateo, let's go for it. We're going to go random colour and see what happens. Okay, I've been given the white pieces. I'm going to start with d4 this time. Play London. Okay, so what's he doing? He's playing quiet, that's for sure. Bring my knight over. It's a standard London setup we'll go for. Yep, so he's getting ready to castle, fairly quiet. This a5 move is interesting, but there we go. Right. Just bring my bishop out. If he takes, I might just recapture there and think about, that's interesting. This does actually give me a free capture with a pawn, or potentially with a bishop as well. And I'll capture with a bishop. Well, capturing with a pawn forces the knight to move, whereas capturing the bishop with the bishop means that if I'm not really threatening to take it for free. However, capturing with the pawn doubles my pawn, so alright, let's take with the pawn. If he doesn't like to be attacked, then I'll attack him. Right, so now the knight is hitting this bishop on f4. I'll just drop it back so it carries on defending that pawn. So I've won a pawn already. Okay, queen is attacking b2. I have knight to c4 hits the queen and defends the pawn, and defends my other pawn. What's not to like? Okay, so the queen's moved a second time. So I have 1, 2, 3 minor pieces out in the board. Mateo has a funky pawn structure and 2 minor pieces and a queen out in the board. So where are the strengths and weaknesses in this? I should probably think about completing development, maybe knight to f3 and castle. It's a bit early to think about any particular attacks. I could maybe move my queen there with an idea of attacking h7. It also supports the bishop on here, so I could pin the knight to the queen as well if I wanted to. So that looks like a healthy move. Just check that it doesn't undefend anything. This pawn's okay, it's protected twice. Yeah, I think that's okay. Relatively comfortable at this point. Okay. He's a kikamai knight. I could play knight to here with the idea of capturing the pawn with a bishop. If I play knight to there and he pushes b4, that attacks my knight and this pawn. Can't take there because there's no other piece. Or just drop back. Just drop back for a quiet life. That looks okay. I've still got ideas for moving this bishop out. I can even grab that now. Or can I? Does that fall to the old bishop trap? So if I take and pawn goes there, I'll probably just take with the bishop, and if pawn takes, I take with the queen. So yeah. So if there, bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Okay. Mateo is now starting to look a bit opened up. I'm very tempted to capture on d6. Then if bishop recaptures, I can swap off bishops. I am actually up 2 pawns at this point in time. I don't need that bishop, but then again, do I want to initiate? Or just, yeah, I think I will. Because I want to keep my h-pawn, because I'd like to castle my king on that side of the board. Okay. This attacks the queen, but also does break the defense of the bishop. So perhaps bishop back to here pins the knight against that rook. Now if I wished to, I could just swap off the bishop for the knight. Does that work in my favour? Something else I'm conscious about now is I've got a queen and a rook looking at h2. So I'm thinking that one of these knights should go to f3. So let's put that knight on f3. Or... now I think this bishop's going to be a good piece, because there's so much space on the board. The middle of the board's completely open. So let's move the knight out. So we've now got two defenders there. Okay. What's the point of that move? It's not stopping me castling. I could castle long and put my rook straight on the open d file, but do I need to worry about these advanced pawns on the queen side? That's the issue there. If I played b4, he's got en passant, I can recapture the knight. If I play b4 and a takes, doesn't really benefit me. Maybe I just castle now. Yeah, just castle. Get my king safe. And then, oh, hello. Wow. Okay. So he's sacrificing his knight. That wasn't what we were led to expect. Okay. Everything's kind of safe. But that was quite a bold move. Okay, two attackers on the knight now. Right, bring my rook from A to E1. If queen takes, we just swap off queens. Okay, now I have a tasty discovered attack, and the question is then what to do with this bishop. Right, so the rook's there, looking at the king, and I think the most obvious move is bishop to C6 to win the rook. I'd love to win the queen, but the queen's on a dark square, so no dice. Let's go with this, check. Could block with a rook. Okay, there we go. Take. Knight takes. Right. Now take stock. It's one of those important times in the game where you go, okay, I'm now getting excited because I have a significant advantage in some way, but you've got to temper that excitement and make sure that you maintain your evil alter ego. Be as evil as possible. So in terms of the biggest threats, I'm quite like the idea of queen e4. So that threatens... no, I can't actually go there or there because the queen's covering that square. I was thinking about queen e4, queen e7, flushing the king out. Also makes sense to put a rook on the same file as the king. I'm not too concerned about this rook right now because the knight's covering that. There is a hanging pawn. So b4 now. That doesn't work, but that might. Takes. Hang on. So b4. A takes b4. C takes b4. No, then I lose my queen. So that's not workable. I've got knight to e4 attacking the queen, but then he might just take the pawn. Okay, if knight to e4 and queen... oh no, queen can't take the pawn. What am I thinking about? It's not hanging at all. Okay, let's go with this. It's nice because it gets a piece off this file where the king is as well. My queen's currently undefended, which is less than ideal. That knight is defended twice. That knight is defended. I've got a discovery against the queen. There's potential of a fork. It's nice because it advances the knight and puts it on a square where it's protected by the pawn. Okay, so the queen's clearly eyeing up this barrage against h2, so I'm inclined just to move my knight back. Yeah. I do have a check. If I check there and then king moves, I'm going to have to give up my knight, really, aren't I? So that doesn't work. Let's put the knight back. Sometimes taking a step backwards is the important thing. It's the right thing to do. Okay, knight to here, so I'm hitting the queen and potentially f7. Okay, he's defending that. Let's move the rook across. Just keep this pressure against the knight. Yeah, you're right, you don't like being attacked, do you? Very, very kind of conservative bot. I'm just inclined now to take the free pawn. There is if the knight moves now, then my queen is under attack, but not too severely. Alright. Okay. Okay, candidate moves. Queen takes pawn. Check. No, that's attacked twice by rook and queen, so that doesn't work. I think queen takes pawn is probably the most aggressive option right now. I have a check here as well. Let's throw in the check. It's more forcing than just grabbing a pawn. I mean, I'm well ahead in material already. Okay. Another check. Alright. It's moving further and further away from my knight, so I'm not going to get very far using just the queen at this point. I'm going to have to bring in more artillery. I'm going to put my queen here and see if we can exchange. So I'm looking now at black's queen and also at that pawn there. So we exchange, so that simplified things a bit, and this only helps me. Okay, so first idea is rook takes b5. So I'm basically up a whole rook and I have an extra pawn. So which is not a bad position to be in. Okay, check. Let's swap off. So with every exchange, my advantage actually grows. So we're left with two knights and a bishop against two knights and a rook against a knight and a bishop, you see. So my full rook advantage is now manifested. Right, time to move my knights in closer towards my opponent, and I'm thinking this is the route, something like this. Let's attack the bish. Okay, let's take the bish. And now I should be pretty safe. So the king's going to have to move to the 7th rank. Then we've got a fork with the king, so I can grab that pawn. And Mateo says, what do I think I'm up to? Well, what I'm up to is getting a queen and checkmating you, my friend. Checkmating you, my son. Let's pin the knight out of spite. Pin the knight out of spite. So Mateo, what do we say about Mateo? Don't know really. Not as challenging as some of the other bots that we've had to face on this. Let's attack the knight. All right, let's attack the knight again. Are you going to make this slow? Are you? Okay. Well, you are definitely running out of luck now. So this now keeps the king in part of the board, just reducing the number of squares that the king has got now, and now again with the knight protecting it here, and there's nothing now to stop this pawn. I'll just pre-move all the way to there. But before I do the queen pre-move, I just want to check that there's absolutely no chance of stalemate. So no, if I move queen to here, he has that square, so we can do that. And now move to here, doesn't matter where the king goes now, and the final move, and there we go. Right, so 1400, not really. I think this is kind of a solid, steady player to play, but again, his pawn structure near the start was not brilliant. Yeah, I think most 1400 rated players in Rapid would beat Mateo fairly comfortably. So that's it for the intermediate bots. Now I might even consider moving up to the advanced ones and the more difficult ones. So yeah, very interesting. It's nice to have these bots with their different personalities and their different approaches to the game, but I don't think that they often match up with the way they're described. Mateo is a solid one, solid, conservative, good for practice, I would say. So yeah, if you were looking for a way to beat Mateo, I've just shown you one kind of approach. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to Chess Bootcamp, please do subscribe, so keep up to date. I post quite a lot of videos. Other than that, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.